Okie doke. We're live. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. For once in my YouTube career, I thought I'd actually start on time, what I usually don't do with these live streams, so my apologies about that. Thank you so much to anyone who is here. Write a message in the chat. Let me know you can hear me. Everything works well. I do see a bit of a slow connection. I don't know why. Hopefully it will resolve itself. We're gonna go for what I planned for us today, and if it doesn't work properly, then we can always try and do something a little different, maybe talk more. So let me know you can hear me. Hey Ian, how are you? You say hi all. Hi back to you. Let's see, I think it starts to improve, so we'll have to just wait and see. Hey Corsam, how are you? Thank you for the email, by the way. I hope you saw my reply. Black Angel, hello. Dave, hi Liron, nice to see everyone. Hearing fine here. Thank you. Black Angel says, yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much. To anyone who joins, today we're going to do something fun. As I promised, we're going to draw this scene from Portugal, Lisbon. I'll just show it to you briefly on screen. I do want to get to some of your messages. I will show you a couple of cool stuff before we get started. I think it's going to be fun. It's a good opportunity to do that. So let's see who's in the house. David Green, Boker Tov, which is good morning in Hebrew. Thank you so much, David. John says, hi, Liron. Hi, everyone, and a happy new year to you all. Thank you so much, John, and I'm also going to join you in those wishes. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope it started fantastically, and hopefully it continues that way. Mark says, hi Liron. Hey Mark. Marco, hello from Germany. Nguyen TV, hello there everyone. Mark says, we hear you. Thank you so much. Of course I am, hear you loud and clear. Evelina says, hello. Vishnu Seth, no I can't. I hope this will solve itself. Kimberly Hilton Studio, good morning and happy new year everyone. Anthony Joseph from Malaysia, can hear you clearly. Glorimar Wilson, hello. Nguyen, I'm from Vietnam. Picolina, hello Liron. Ellen says, hi, I can hear you. EJ Park, hello from Korea. James says, hello Liron, great. Greetings from London to all. Anayansi Bryson, greetings. Improvement to the internet are occurring. Oh yeah, thank you. I'm happy you saw the email. Diseni in Tasca, hello. Daksh Ram Rakiani, happy new year. Nancy G, morning from Akron, Ohio. Kevin Ivaska, thanks. And good morning from Colorado. Nguyen says, happy new year 2021. So yes, I'm also going to wish you all happy new year. I hope 2021 will shine its light upon you. It's going to be a good one. My camera is here really close to me because we will need it a little closer for today. So a couple of things. I want to show you something really cool. About how to work with reference photos, okay, and what to do when you don't have a good reference. So some of you may have seen on my Instagram stories. Also, by the way, thank you to anyone who joined the Instagram live yesterday. I just popped in for a real quick one. We talked to just for a few, like 22 minutes, something like that, but it was really fun. And I just showed you a couple of the things I worked on. I think I'll button this one. I don't know why. Looks more suitable, and because it's kind of, I'm in between, it's too hot and it's too cold, so I'm gonna close this one. Maybe it'll set the make it the decision for me if I'm comfortable or I need another layer. So yeah, so here's again what we're gonna do. Thank you so much to anyone who joins. If you can just hit that, sorry, bump the camera. If you can hit the like button, that will really help this live stream get to more people. We can have a big party here. So I would really appreciate it. Like, please. Thank you so much. If you just discovered me and you're gonna enjoy this one, hopefully, then feel free to subscribe as well. And now let's get to it. So here is the scene. I'm gonna blow it up a little larger on the screen. It's a beautiful urban kind of setting, something I wanted to do in a while, and it's gonna be just an urban sketch type of work. So I'm gonna show you how I drop in all the guidelines, how I set the scene, decide on the composition, where to place everything. We're gonna change a few things around. Sorry for that noise if you can hear it. And I'll then do some inking. I don't know if I'll go into full details, and I do want to keep this one fairly loose in a way, but we can take our time and work a little slowly and try and get a more accurate result. We'll see. I think we'll wing it. I do have to apologize for one thing. Can you see how the camera is having a hard time focusing? That's simply because we have this white space here. As soon as I'm going to drop something here that's like a pen line or something like that, it's going to have a much easier time. So just letting you know, sorry about that in advance. Now, before we get to that, I just want to show you something cool. So here's the thing. I wanted to paint on my comic. There is this scene where the enemy basically has a sword and they're going one-handed with the sword, kind of going like this, and are going to attack the main character. And he's horseback, so riding a horse and running towards us, and it's a very extreme angle, so really up close. And I couldn't find obviously a reference that is exactly that. So I actually created it, and I want to show you a bit of creativity. I actually took a picture of myself in the kitchen, like this. And it's not even a picture, it's a video. So I did the whole motion like real slowly with just this silly bar I have from an old tripod I got. From an old easel, not tripod. And I just went like this real slowly, multiple angles, got the one I like, combined it with another one, and that way I was able to create the rough draft you see here, which actually translated to something a little more finalized, but still pretty much work in progress. But it's this that you see here. There are a few mistakes, a few things to correct, but I could have never been able to get that down. So just without a proper reference. So just something to open up your mind to the possibility of actually, and I know a lot of artists do that, if you need reference for something that you don't have, you can find, you can do it yourself. So just a fun little tip for you. Let's go over some more messages quickly and then we'll get to work. We have Roman Diazi. Hi, Liron from Uruguay, as usual. Thank you for being here, Roman. Sandra Fishman, hello from New York City. Pedro Carrillo, Pedro from Portugal. Cool, so we got a scene from Portugal. That's a nice coincidence. Kimberly Hilton, watching from Virginia, USA. John says, hope you're well, my friend. Thank you, John. Meow Meow, Katzen, hi from Austria. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Rinske Colors, first time here, new to urban sketching and watercolor. So I hope you're gonna have a good time because we're gonna do this. We're gonna go for a more urban scene. Tarun Agarwal sends a heart with that sign of the big sign and the 3. Thank you so much for that. Zaid Thakur says, couldn't have expected a better live than this. Thank you so much. Fine art with Widad, sorry, absolutely love your upload. Always a pleasure coming to visit you. And big thumbs up for me, thank you. Zaid says hi. Maria C. Lim Kako, I can hear you. Happy New Year, Nguyen. Do you have any friends in Vietnam? No. I hope to in the future. Deep Krishan Kukreti, hello. Nguyen says I love drawing. Mark says didn't know you did live Instagram too. Yeah, very, very occasionally. Once every, like seldom. I want to do more. Like I want to do twice a week, just to pop in for 30 minutes or so, show a bit of what I'm working on, keep it very casual. Not really demo based, because that I can do here. Pedro, this is Lisbon, Portugal. Indeed. And Nguyen says nice to meet you in Vietnam. I hope I can get there one day. We were actually supposed to visit Vietnam, and then the virus hit. Gloria Wilson, I'm curious, have you ever had a creativity block? Yes, I have a couple of videos on that, but maybe I'll do another one soon. It happens from time to time, but I'm so in my momentum that it doesn't happen as much. Even if it does happen, I can get over it really fast. It's just doing every day, it really cures it. Pedro says, my town, Zaid Thakur, will you use watercolor? Not for this one, sorry if you wanted watercolor today. It's going to be hopefully in the last live stream. Roman says, beautiful Lisbon. I think that's how you say it. I don't know if in Portuguese or other language, let me know. Ian says, look up high, guard, sword attack. Yeah. Thorin says, very cool. Dave says, Liron, what makes a sketch an urban sketch, as it doesn't refer painting? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the urban kind of vibe to the scene, and the style itself. There's nothing that really makes it an urban sketch per se. Just whatever you want to call it. So maybe it's not the most accurate definition if you're not doing it outside. That's definitely a possibility. Kimberly says, awesome idea for a reference. Mega Agarwal says, I am absolutely mesmerized by your manga. Thank you, can't wait to read it soon. I'm really going to pick up the pace soon. John says, I followed your video of sketching a house in Allenby Street, so we'll post my attempt soon. Cool. Okay, let's get to it. Let's start drawing this. So, first off is composition. before we even get to perspective, and let me make myself a little bigger here, like that, before we even get to the perspective, we need to decide on some kind of a composition where everything is going to be. Now, luckily for us, this is a really nice reference. I have it up on my wall as well, so this is why I'm looking over there. It's kind of giving us everything we need. I like this shape here up top of the buildings. You see right above this kind of a V shape. I love the trams, really, really beautiful. I like how one is closer to us, one is farther, one is bigger, obviously, one is smaller. One is blue, one is red. What can you ask more than that? Like, the composition is there. It took me a few moments to find a good reference photo that kind of gives it all. One thing I do want to change. From my experience, if you want to have a good focal point, and in this example, this tram that is closer to us right here is a good focal point. Now, if you want it to work as a good focal point, I wouldn't place it here, like right on the bottom. I'll put it a little up. So what we're going to do essentially is push it a little back into the drawing. Okay, so instead of it being here, it's going to be a little up. Okay, so let me know if that makes sense. The other one we can kind of keep where it is. The buildings, I love this building corner. I really like it. Now, if you notice, this street actually goes a little up at an incline. Okay, these streets are not flat. Even this one goes a little down. So you're actually going down the street or up here. It's on a hill. So you want to have that in mind when you're drawing. It's not too, doesn't necessarily make things too hard on us, but just something to have in mind. So I think we'll get started. Now let me show you something cool. Before we drop a horizon line, or rather we may drop a horizon line, but you know what, even before that, let's do like a sketch of where everything is going to be like, and we are not going to be worried about accuracy. So let me show you what I mean. Do you see this V shape? I'm just going to drop it in where I see it. So I'll say the right side of the V is not in the center, but it's a little to the left, so somewhere around here. The other one is kind of around here. The other edge, it's actually where this clip is, so I'm going to move it somewhere around here. And then it goes all the way kind of to the middle, I think, if I'll measure it out. So maybe a little above. So this is the middle. Let's go a little above and place it around the middle here. Nothing too striking, I think, in terms of the angle. It's pretty much in the middle. And then I'm just going to connect the two. So kind of imagine like we're doing this and I know you can see it well, don't worry, it will improve once I drop in a few stronger lines. But I want to show you how, kind of like in the watercolor approach, you can really get away with placing a few details in just to establish the composition, and then later on you can start worrying about accuracy and perspective and so on. Okay? Now these buildings kind of go down, and then we have the street that goes all the way to the corner here. And from the corner, it's a pretty flat angle, it kind of connects here. So if I drop a line from here, and then I'll connect it to, I think, kind of around here. Yeah, I think so. Maybe somewhere around here. You see, we get this kind of a shape of the street. Same on the other side. And this goes up at a very, very flat angle, actually. And then it goes like this, up. The reason it goes up here is because the street, again, is actually in an incline. Again, I know it's not too visible. Don't worry about it, I will solve it. Now what happens here, we don't really care much about because we can't see it because of the trams. Okay, so that's another thing to have in mind. Now the street corner is somewhere around here, let's say. Maybe a little more to the right. Okay, something like that. And what else is important here? I think that's pretty much it. Now the angles, I did get a little wrong, so I'm gonna fix them. Less steep of an angle, okay? I'll get my eraser, I think it's here. That's right, here we go. So a little flatter here. I'm just showing you how you can drop some of these lines without any guidelines really. Just look at the edges of the paper, okay? We will make them a little more accurate in just a few moments, okay? If we mess it up, it's not the end of the world. So this is the street corner, as I mentioned. We have a couple of lines coming out that are parallel like this. But before we get to that, let's establish the horizon line. I want to show you something. If you look at, I'm going to make it larger. Now, if you look at the red tram, so here, and look between them, you can see the street kind of going up, 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 and then it stops somewhere around here. Can you see it? That's where it kind of connects to, and it's more than a third. That's where it connects to the rest of the street or the bottoms of the buildings in the distance. So our horizon line is going to be somewhere around that point, a little above a third. So I'm going to drop it here, okay? Let's drop a very gentle line here, and I know you can see. Let me move this aside, okay? I want to show you multiple ways of tackling the problem of an urbanscape, okay? And actually, let's try something. I wonder if I should... No, we'll leave it like that. Okay, you will forgive me for the blurriness for now. So this is kind of our horizon line, and what happens is this street, it goes in, and it appears to go back down like that, and all the way up to this area. So let me show you, and also on the other side, I'm guessing. Now, I said we don't care about it, but it can help us kind of place things, so I do want to put it in there. So we have this kind of a road going. Now, the reason we see so much of this section, I'm going to go over your comments in a moment just to see everything is clear. But the reason we see so much of this is that this is going down, okay? And because it's going down, we're at a higher vantage point. So we can see all of this road going away from us, okay? With a few rows of cars that I will get in, okay? And again, if it doesn't make sense, it will as we add more details. So really, I don't want you to worry about it too much. Just want you to try and follow my explanation as best as you can, okay? We're just establishing a few details. And again, if I would do this with watercolor, I can kind of wing it, put in real quick lines, and it will work out. But here I do want us to put stronger emphasis on the drawing stage, okay? Now let's see what you're saying in the comments. Just gonna go and search for questions or maybe things that aren't that you don't understand. Is it fine to use images for sketches and call it an urban sketch? As I said before, I don't know, maybe it isn't. But I'm fine with that. Lisbon is a true paradise for urban sketching. That is true. Cubs win. Hey, how are you? Good morning from Texas. I'm from Italy. I did your course, and I wish I made it half a year ago. Now I'm less confused. So happy to hear you, Lisa. Thank you so much for that. Blue Tea Art, hello. Okay, yeah, so I see we don't have too many questions. John says, when using your pencil to measure with, does it matter which eye you close? No, not really. And very often I won't even close my eyes because I measure physically on paper, so I'll kind of go like this. But if I actually hold it back and measure like that, I think I usually close my right eye, but I don't think it matters as much. Okay, so now that we've established some lines, let me go over them a little stronger than I would generally, because I want you to see them, okay? So I wouldn't go as strong when I'm just doing this for myself, but I do want you to see these lines. So we're gonna go over them. Kind of like that. This goes up, goes around, street corner, goes down like that. And we'll get rid of the horizon line, okay? So, because it's behind the buildings, we can't see it, okay? I hope that makes sense. And again, feel free to drop any questions if anything is unclear. Now, we do have these buildings up above, so I'm just going to put in a few indications. We'll bring out most of these details when we do the pen stage, okay? And I do want to zoom out for a moment and talk a bit about the pencil stage. Our goal here is to put something that will allow us basically to do the pen and ink stage, okay? That's all you really want to do. I want to measure something here. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So that's all we're doing here. We're placing enough lines for us to work with once we put in the pen. Now, I actually prepared a whole bunch of types of pens here, so we may go a little crazy with the technique. I don't know. And it's something I never really did on camera, so it could be fun. So now, these buildings are actually... You know what? Let's start with the perspective here. So look at these lines. If I connect where they meet, it's somewhere around here. So that's our vanishing point for these buildings. So if I pull lines out of that, what I will get are guidelines for putting in the structures, okay? Now, they aren't going to be perfect because this is going downhill. So this is something we have to remember. There are a few vanishing points here. One is this, because these lines are actually parallel to the ground. But the road here is not parallel because the road is at an angle. Okay, so you have the road at an angle, and then a building that is actually horizontal. So these lines adhere to the vanishing point, but these lines aren't, because they're coming up towards us. Okay, very complex. This is why I wanted to do this scene. Hopefully you will understand it as we go along. I don't know if I had to put in a divider, it'll be somewhere around here, just for the center of the road, just for me to figure that out. Okay, and we haven't even yet put the trams in, so let's actually do that, because I don't want us to go overboard with guidelines. So, the front one. I want to put it a little more to the back, so I'm not going to place it right here at the bottom. Let's place it here, so the side that is closer to us is here. That makes sense? A little more to the right, so somewhere around here. Okay, now, this is going to go, this is a little at an angle. The street goes up. And this is flat. So, because it's flat, this line is not going to be parallel to these lines, the front of this tram. So I'm just going to place a line. See how it's not parallel? And that's what I want you to have in mind for now. It's not parallel. Okay? Now, the line for the top is somewhere around the middle. If you look at this side, right here on the tram that is to the right, it's kind of the middle of the entire length of the photo. So I'm going to go find the middle, which is somewhere around here maybe. Doesn't matter as much. And this is the height of the tram. Now, this line and this line are not going to be parallel. Why? Because we're actually closer to this side of the tram. What happens to objects that are closer to us? They appear to be larger. So if this line is closer to us, let's do it this height. If this line is closer to us, this line should appear to be shorter, okay? So it's not going to be here, it's going to be a little lower, just a teeny tiny bit. And that's how you create a very subtle sense of three-dimensionality. Now, it's a little skewed due to the camera, so you'll have to forgive me for that. Once I put in more details, it'll make more sense. Now, I'm actually going to make it a little smaller. And this is heavy on perspective. So hopefully, even if it's not everything is clear now, you could go back and watch it in the future. Now, I want you to pay attention to something and rewatch it and maybe work a little slowly on it. Now, one thing I want you to pay attention to. This tram is going up this road. So it's going to be parallel to this road, not to these lines that come out from this vanishing point. So, look at this line. We're going to draw a line that's parallel to that. So something like this. Very sketchy, I know. Don't worry about it. We will make things a whole lot clearer soon. And we're going to connect these two like this. Okay? Now, let's get rid of all of the lines that aren't visible to us, which means everything here in the middle. See, we don't need all of that. I'm going through great lengths just to show you how to set it up, okay? This isn't even like, okay, I called it urban sketching. It's not even urban sketching in the sense that I thought it's going to be. Because for urban sketching, usually you just get started with very few guidelines, but I'm actually going here like really detailed on the stages. So hopefully that will be beneficial. Now, I could go into every small explanation, but I think I'll try and pick up the pace a bit, okay? Because what I could show you is that the center is here, and then because this is rounded, it's beveled out, so the center of the rounded part is somewhere around here. So you'll get this funny little angle up at the front. I could show you all of these things. I just don't know if there's like any use in really going into all of these details for now. So here we go, the bottom part of the tram, and you can see how it starts to take shape, okay? This is how these things work. It's slowly, it's a process, but let's pick up the pace of it just to make it a little more interesting, a little more fun. Let's get through some of that. I'm gonna eyeball some of it without going too heavy on the perspective, because that can be a little bit of a challenge or a distraction. So here we go, maybe something up top here. We have a few windows. Let's not get into the finer details just yet. The bottom is also rounded, so I'm going to round it out. And let's get rid of this just for clarity's sake. Let me see what you're saying in the chat. So I see that AutoFunk says, "Hi sir, very big fan. Hi sir, very big fan. Hi sir, very big fan." Thank you so much. I appreciate it. no need to take over the chat. So if you're going to continue, I'm going to have to block you, but I don't think you will, so that's cool. Let's see here. It looks like street in the far distance, and the curve goes back up. Exactly, Mark. How will you create value contrast using this photo? It's interesting, James. I'm not sure. What I may do is draw everything based on the photo and then kind of wing the values or make them up. I may just invent a direction for the light and shadow to come from. Maybe they'll come towards us, like against the light. I don't know yet. I really don't. Maybe we will do this in overcast scene. It's going to be pretty flat. Okay. I have so much trouble with perspective and the vanishing point. Yeah, I know. It's a challenge. But hopefully that helps. I placed my horizon line by the middle of the trams. Middle of the trams? No, that's fine. That's fine. I actually understand why you did that, Glorimar. So here's a lesson for everyone. I understand why you did that, because if you look at these lines that represent a declining street and you connect them, you actually end up with a vanishing point here. The vanishing point for these lines, and as a matter of fact for the trams lines, is lower. You are actually correct. It's just that we have multiple vanishing points. I did the one for the buildings, but again, if we connect this line and this line and this line, look at where we end up. So we actually don't know where the horizon is, because we can't know for sure how down this goes and how up this goes. At least I can't. I don't think I'm skilled enough to just figure it out. I think it is possible maybe, but to tell you the truth, I'm not sure. So I wouldn't worry about that. You just recognize the different vanishing point. Way to go. Very good job. Nikash Matthew, message retracted, sorry about that. I think you got a new fan. Dave says, yeah, baby. Auto Funk in the house. Imran Ibrahimov gives us his thumbs up. I find perspective very difficult. Any good tips? Says 6 Wheelini. What I'm doing here, follow this a few times, try and figure it out. Let me show you at a bit of a cleaner angle. Okay, look at the logic behind what I do and try using that. Now remember, the basis to everything is actually the composition and putting things in the right place. Then comes perspective, then comes the details. This should be a little higher, so something like that. Okay, no, it isn't perfect. The perspective here is not perfect. It's very hard to eyeball it perfectly. Had I wanted to get it more perfectly, it will take like 3 times the amount of time it took. I'm speeding things up a little for the process because this should end up at this second vanishing point, and it doesn't. So I'm not perfectly there, but it's close enough. Daichi Shinomaru says, hello, a few minutes late. Will you be inking? Yes, I will. I will be inking it. I think we'll run through the inking really fast just to balance it out with this part. And we'll make it fun. We'll make it fun. I have like a brush type of pen. I think it's going to be really fun to use. We'll do something fun with this one. Okay, so we finished one. Now let's get the other tram there. Now, I think I need to shorten this one a bit to make more room for the other one. Or either that, or I actually need to make more room here on the left. So let me move some stuff around like that and make a little more room down here to the side. Okay, now the other tram is kind of around here, all the way here. So that's one line, goes up, kind of the same height, maybe a little shorter, and then goes like that, and then like this. Now the beautiful part about this one is that it's facing towards us, so we don't have to worry about the side of it. No side, it's facing straight at us, okay? And what are we gonna do with our kneaded eraser? We're gonna get rid of all of these unnecessary lines. By the way, 102 people watching. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to anyone who joined just now. We're doing a beautiful scene from Lisbon, Portugal. We found out that it's not really urban sketching, so I lied with the name of the video. It's actually just sketching. Sorry about that, but it is fun. It's not on location, so it's not really urban sketching, but you're gonna forgive me for that one. Lower part, this little thing right here that moves on the tracks. Look how accurate I was actually here. I got this nicely in the right place, so that works. And then another one. Curves are another challenge in perspective. This should be here probably. So what you have to do is really work on the basics. Like I can kind of wing curves, but it's not easy. So here we go. Let's make this equal on both sides in terms of shape. Let's get rid of some of these lines. I know it's super sketchy, but once we get started with the pen and ink, it's going to make much more sense. It's going to get clearer. Now, if you notice, I actually messed something up. This should be lower hanging, and there's a good reason for that, because I do want to see the street that goes up in the distance here. So here we go. Let's fix that thing here. Let's get rid of this height. Let's make it even smaller, just in case, because I do want to be able to show you some cars here. It's tiny, but I do want to be able to show. In fact, another correction. Let's do this. Let's do this. We're going to move it to the left. So it's going to end somewhere around here. And then somewhere around here. It's just what you got to do. You got to make these corrections, which makes me inaccurate here. That's fine. No worries about that. This is why we're starting with a preferably softer, weaker pencil lines. Okay, not straight with the pen. We could go straight with the pen for a challenge, but it's another option. So we got the basic things here in place. I'm gonna hint at the side here, just hint at it. Get rid of this. I think that works for now. That works. Okay, middle is here. Here we have 3 windows. Now, the windows are not even sized because this is round. So, we're going to see more of this window, and a little bit of this window because it moves away from us. One more thing to remember and pay attention to, okay? And this is curved. It's such a beautiful thing to draw, really. I love this style. I love the colors here, too, so much. We have the door here. I'm not going to go into too many details on the door. We'll just place it in. Actually, we're really close to doing the pen. So if you find this stage a little boring, my apologies, but we're close. We're really close. Now this goes here, connects there, and then goes back like this. So we have the door. Again, not going to go into too many details. I will add them with the pen. Now, just like watercolor, the more assistance you need, put more of these details now. Okay, you may need more details than I do just to get the accurate shape in. Maybe you need some more things to rely on. Makes sense. I'm relatively scarce in lines, so yeah. Now I'm kind of in the watercolor mood. I'm just placing in some fun lines here. Because when I do sketches for watercolor, it's a little more whimsical for sure. Now these lines are gonna move towards a different vanishing point. So right here at the street corner, these lines go like that, but then they change their direction. Now, trick question, which way do they change their direction? Will they go parallel to this line? Think about it for a few seconds. Let me know your thoughts. This goes up towards us and this goes up to our right. The answer is no, it's not. It's not gonna be parallel to this. Why? Because remember, buildings are built vertically. Even though the ground is at an angle, like here, the building is going to be vertical. So we won't get something like this, but rather something like this. That's what you want to remember. The taller it gets, the more of an angle to this direction it's going to be. So it's kind of fanning. Where is it going to be flat? In the horizon line. So this horizon line, this is where the flat line is. Anything above that is going to have a bit of an angle, just a bit. Okay? And anything below that is going to have this angle, but not as extreme. So maybe this angle. Okay? So this is how you build the perspective in this kind of a scene with an angle. It's not easy, I know. Bear with me. It's going to be fun. Okay? We're going to ink this one soon. Now, we have a window here. Now the window is curved. I could put that curve straight in, or I could use perspective. Straight line, another straight line, following the perspective I established, and then find the middle, and then put the curve in. So you're more bound to get an accurate result. Sorry, I know you didn't see part of it. Now, this window, here's another trick for you. I'm going to give you just tidbits of tricks. This window is to our right. And it's beveled, it's not beveled, it's dented inwards, okay? So what side of the window's edges we're gonna see? This side or that side? It's gonna be that side. So let me show you. I'm putting in, let me fix this. I'm putting in this line indicating where the top edge is. And then I'm putting another line for the inner side of the window. I know it's very messy. Sorry about that. That was terrible of me. Let's do another one. Let's give it another try. You see? And that way we see the inside of the window. These lines follow the perspective we already established. There's a line down the middle. The window actually ends here, so a little taller. Then we have this kind of a door, something like that, and an awning, and all of these beautiful little details that are details. But the basis to all of these details is that perspective, okay? The door is flat. It's not going to be a slanted door. So we have to follow that same perspective, not the street that goes up, okay? And if you're having a hard time, don't think about it in technical terms. Think about it physically. Like, if this goes up, like logically, this, would it be at an angle? It could be. They could accommodate for the angle, but it's very unlikely to see a door that the bottom line is actually slanted. So this is going to be a flat line with a step, probably. A step that connects to the street, okay? I hope that makes sense. Like, I know, and one more thing, look, I know the tram should be more to the right and kind of obstruct this corner. I prefer it that way, actually. I didn't plan for it, got lucky, but I prefer it that way. Now, a couple of lines here to help us find the vertical aspect. So kind of like this as well. Now, the thing is, when we're looking up, these lines aren't going to be fully vertical. They're going to have an angle as well. But it's so subtle here, don't worry about it too much. You can do all of them pretty much vertical, maybe just a slight angle like this on the outside, like that. And like this on the other side. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Let's see what you're saying. I've seen a video. 6 Realini. I've seen videos with 1, 2, 3 vanishing points. How do I know which one to use and why are there so many vanishing points? Thanks. So this is actually a good question. I have a good answer for you. Whatever you're going to draw will dictate what vanishing points you're going to focus on. So what do I mean by that? We're drawing this building. We're drawing this tram. Let me show you. If we look at it from above, we have this building in the street corner, and then we have this tram kind of emerging into the street, okay? And maybe the tram is actually parallel, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. These are the objects we care about. This street goes up, okay? This street goes down. The other tram is here, hasn't gotten to take a turn yet, okay? So we're looking at it from above. We care about these objects. So what are we going to do? We're going to find their perspective. And how do we do that? You look at these lines. These lines that make up the buildings. And you look at them. And you see that there's this line here. And you see that all the windows kind of connect over on this line. And you see this line. And you see this line. And all of these lines, if you connect them, where do you get to? The horizon line. Okay, which is this. And then you use that. Now this road goes down. So you look at this line. 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 Where do they all meet? Somewhere around here. So that's the perspective for this particular part of the painting, of the drawing, okay? So the way you decide on what to use for your perspective is actually what you want to draw. Let me show you another example. Let's say I have a cube here, okay? Just a kind of a normal cube at an angle, okay? What perspective do I want to use in order to draw that cube? Follow the lines. This line and this line. If we pull them all the way to infinity, and I'll actually make it a little more exaggerated. Let me make it a whole lot more exaggerated so we can actually get a connection point, okay? This, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, okay? What happens when we connect these lines? We get to a vanishing point, okay? When we connect these two lines, we get to a vanishing point. So this is our horizon line, okay? And this line, by the way, has to go to this vanishing point too. I got it wrong. Okay, and this line is same. Okay, this is a very skewed cube. How did we know where the perspective is? We follow some of the lines. The challenge is, if you're working on this cube, it's much easier seeing those lines as opposed to when you're working on this big scene. So you have to train yourself to see those lines. That's the basis of it. And that we took care of it, by the way, in the composition stage, because we put in the V shape, we put in, you know, the street and all of that. I hope that makes sense. I know it's complex. I hope it makes sense. Let me know. Now you will understand it as I explain it, and then when you have to draw it, you will fumble and tumble again. That's just part of it. But have that explanation in mind. Now, funny enough, I think we're almost ready to do the pen work. So let's get to it. Let's place in. Now, what we're doing here is just placing in a few details. Okay, so I want to show the windows here of the tram. I want to show these windows, everything here. There's a bunch of buildings there. A bunch of windows here to the side. Again, my perspective isn't perfect. It's passable. And as long as we can use it to draw something, that's fine. We could go into more details, but let's not. Let's make this fun. So, I have a couple of things here. Use the pencil. I don't need a pencil really anymore. I have a bunch of pens. Now, people ask what pens I use. I use a mix, so I have a few of these Faber-Castell. I have Sakura Micron Pigma. I have Staedtler. No, sorry, that's Faber-Castell. I had Staedtler. I don't have it right now, I guess. I remembered I had a few, but whatever. Now, these are very interesting, the Faber-Castell ones, because I actually have like, this one is a brush, SB. B, I believe, stands for the brush part. We have this one that's fine, so F, and it's just a normal one, just like the rest. We have this one, which is a little bolder, okay, a little thicker. We're going to use probably the normal ones, as well as the brush, just for my own fun and selfishness, to be honest with you. I just want to try it out. So let's see what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop with the details here and we'll get started to inking this. Now, I think I'll try zooming in a bit more so you can see more of the details. It's not ideal because the camera isn't that good at handling details up close. It's better from afar, but we're going to try. We're going to try, in worst case, the scene's going to go blurry on us. Okay, so let's give it a go. I'm organizing my tripod, so just a few moments, and I think we maybe turned it a little closer. Let's make this smaller, here to the side, and we're going to get started. So, what are we going to get started with? Basically whatever you want, but for me, let's start with like something that's close to us in the middle, is a fun detail to put in. Let's start with this kind of a tram. Now, because it's close to us, I'm actually going to use thicker lines. Do I want to use this brush here? It's going to be a risk. Let's give it a try. Let's give it a try with the details that are closer to us. So we have this kind of a dome-shaped structure, like that. And this goes like this. Now look at what happens now. Now the camera will be able to focus without too many issues. Finally does the favor of working as it should. This line there, it seems to be thick, so I'm going to use the brush to kind of get a thicker line. Now, if you can control the variation in width, this is like, here we go artistic. So far we went really, you know, logical and technical. Here we go artistic. So we'll talk about line width, creating a sense of depth, and so on. When you're inking, what you want to do is focus on creating interest in the line width. So objects that are closer may appear a little more like thick, a little more detailed, which is what I'm going to try and aim to replicate here, this effect. Okay, now again, we could go with just the thin pens, but I actually wanted to maybe try something a little different here. So we have this kind of a thing up top, whole bunch of details we can kind of simplify here. This top part. Now, I wanted to start with the object that's closest to us, because what this will allow us is to go very thick with the lines, and then we can match everything to that thickness, okay? And look at how wobbly my lines are. Don't worry about these things. Your lines can still be beautiful, even if they're wobbly. Now, for the details inside these thick lines, I'll tend to use thinner brushes, okay? So just saying. For the contour lines around, I'm going to use thicker lines, okay? So something like this. Let's make it a little stylized even. Something like that. Here we go. Lower part here. Just keeping this fun. And look at, again, if you can have confidence, because right now I'm not warmed up, But I don't feel like that. For inking, I need a separate warm-up session doing circles and ovals and so on. I don't feel warmed up, but because I have some experience, I'm able to work confidently, and that's actually a big part of getting this to look good. Okay, I'm gonna soon look at your questions. I see a couple of more. Okay, I promise you I will get to them. Let's get some inking done, and then we'll do that. Now look at these lights here. They're not in the center. It's a very common mistake. I will take this brief break to show you. It's a very common mistake to see this and think to yourself, oh, okay, there are 2 lines on the left side and 2 lines on the right side. That's not the case, because this is, again, at a bit of an angle, and we're looking at it from the side. So 2 here and 2 here. You see the difference? They're rotated to the side, and this is exactly what I was hoping to achieve here. Okay, so let's get those lights in. Another thing about line weight is, if you look at what I'm doing here, I tend to go heavier on the bottom. So I'm going to do this thin line and then heavy, thicker line around the bottom. It just creates a nice little sense of three-dimensionality very often. Okay, now we have this front part, and if anyone's an expert in trains and so on, you can tell me what this part is called and what it does. Just a few lines here. Very fun. And then let's get to this line. Look at how flat it actually is in the reference photo. I went really at an angle here. So I made a few mistakes, quite a few mistakes, but I think the impression still works really well. So I'm going to forgive myself, and hopefully you will too. And yeah. Again, wobbly lines, that's fine. I'm not warmed up. I don't care. I don't mind that at all. Let's move this line a little up. Why? Because then we can get an angle. So it goes up like this, and then it flattens a bit, and then it goes back up. Okay? And then we get... Okay, for the details, I'm going to wait. Let's put in some of the major lines first. These windows are so at the front, I'm just going to put them in. And for the lines that we see the inside part of, I'm going to go thicker. It's kind of a stylistic choice. Now, this may seem very almost illustration-like. First off, that's great. I don't care. I'm trying to do these fun and interesting for me too. So doing something like this that's very different from my usual stuff, I'm fine with. And second, once we add some more details in thinner brush, it will all fall into place. Okay, you will see. It will look much more, I don't know if I want to say three-dimensional, but much more solid in a way. Okay, so we got this here. Let's get this kind of line of the street that goes up. Still using the brush because it's still close to us, so it may be a little thicker, but I don't press it as hard as I did on this part. We have the sign here, so that goes here. And again, confidence goes a long way. So even if you're not an expert, just putting these lines more confidently can really help. Now, should I continue with this? Let's do this here. That's going to be the last line I'm going to use this for, okay? And then I'm going to switch to the thinner brushes, okay? I'm going to finish this line up with the brushes, actually. But I think we got something good going on here. Now, let me switch the camera over to my face. I want you to see this, and let's get rid of this. I want you to see this angle free, so kind of more up front, because the table is at an angle and all of that. So just that you can better see this, okay? I hope it makes sense. Let's get back to it. Let me see some of your questions, then we'll continue. Bolivar changes, let's see. Okay, yeah. Pedro Carrillo, horizon line could be at head level of the people walking. Yes, if that's what you would want to, if that's, yeah, that makes sense too. So if the person is here, that's another horizon line. Yes, yes. Damn son, awesome. Damn son, awesome. Painting knowledge. Hi sir, how are you? Thank you, I'm doing well. How are you? Barb says, good morning from Ohio. John says, have to go a bit earlier today, Liron. I will catch up later, my friend. Thank you. You got it. You got the main bulk of the video, John, so thank you so much for being here. Imran Ibrahimov, are the main windows? Is this a question? Let me know. Keep writing. Bolivar Chagas, excellent explanation, Liron. Thank you. Thank you so much. Romina Constanza Valenzuela. You're the best, Liron. Thank you so much. Don't worry about the typo. That's very common. Mark, you did a live video on perspective not long ago with good explanations. Yes, I have. Be sure to check that out as well. One of the previous live sessions. Picolina, hey, how are you? Sandra Fishman, great explanation for perspective. Thanks for the tips. Dave says, makes perfect sense, well explained. Thank you, Dave. Shemay Kun, the live was perfectly timing for me to learn perspective. What will happen if something is above the horizon line? Great question. In fact, you can see it. You can see what happens when something is above the horizon line. Look at this line of the building here. It follows that pattern. So it goes like that. It comes out of the horizon line. So if we have a line, the horizon line, anything above it, for example, let's say the street goes like this, okay? Just the street, like that. Now, things that are above it, like power lines, are going to also come out, follow that same pattern, okay? Of following the same perspective. Taller ones will just get taller. See? So we see this here with this building. And if we had street lights here, we'd have the same effect. So one would be here in the distance, and one would be here. Where it's close, it's taller. See, same thing. So just that concept. It's a great question. Ian Jackson, they are called cow catchers on steam trains. Oh, this one? Okay. Cow catchers. Funny. I hope they don't catch cows. The real Andre B. Alpedes, do you watch BBC Doctor Who? I actually don't. So yeah, I don't watch it. Sorry. Maggie McNevin, do you often paint watercolor over your pen drawings? Not very often, and this paper isn't good for watercolor, so we can't, even if we wanted to. Sorry about that. The real Andre B. Alpedes, do you watch Hamerot's La Million? Sometimes. That's like the Incredible Race, it's called. I don't remember in English. Right now it's over, so the season was over. Is over. I think we're. I'm in Surfer Rosa. I'm in a hospital and wish so much I had my portable painter, the little sketchbook. I can't take seeing so much inspiration without being able to express it. So get well soon. I hope nothing is too bad, and rewatch it with a sketchbook. And there will be many more. Okay, I promise to provide as much inspiration as I can. And please, Surfer Rosa. The next live, if you're out and you have the sketchbook, let me know. It'll make me happy. Let me know I'm out, and I can now follow along. So just let me know that if you can. Let's continue. So I'm going to work my way down from thick to thinner. And now we're going to move to slightly thinner. So I have my, I should have my 08 pen somewhere around here. The one I want is nowhere to be found as expected. Here it is. It's right here at the back. Got it. So my 08 pen. Why am I using that? Because we're going to move on to the next prominent shape that isn't as prominent as this, which is probably the other tram. So we're going to do that. Now with the pen, I'm much more confident than with the pen brush. So I'm just going to kind of go for it. Go at a bit of a faster pace. Maybe mess up some lines. That's fine. Don't worry about it too much. We have another sign here up top. Try and get these to look decent, but honestly, a lot of the beauty from these lines comes from speed. I went a little sketchy here, so may have hurt some of the line quality, but that's fine. Top window. The pen's a little old, so I can't get a good line when I hold it at an angle. Let me try and switch to the fine one here, because the fine one is still pretty thick, if I recall. Let's do this. Now I'm going to have to move my hand around, so I may block some parts, so I will apologize for that. It's just that to get the lines the right angle, you sometimes have to do that. Now, I know these are small details. Sorry if you can't see them that well. If I zoom in, I think my camera will go blurry, so sorry about that. Hopefully you can still see some of these details, okay? But yeah, I just want to apologize for that. This line's coming out from there. Another line coming out from here. We got that in. I do think we should see a bit of the side here, so let's kind of hint at it. See? Like that. That makes sense to me. Now the buildings. So on the left, and this is where it's really going to get to that kind of urban sketchy style. I'm going to go much sketchier and really just kind of have fun with it. Because I have a lot of experience with buildings, I can actually afford it to go a little crazier here To be honest with you, I want to also have fun, so I'm fine with things not going my way, worst case. And before I get into the details, I'm going to do the actual like main parts of the building itself, okay? We have another building right around here. We have another one. Look at this break here. This is a great opportunity to show the perspective. We break this line, we put another building here. I actually see it in the photo reference. You can see it right around there, that line. Continue it a bit. It actually breaks into two buildings, which is always a nice opportunity to show some extra details. Now remember that the buildings are going to appear to be thinner the further they go away from us, okay? Now I'm going to switch a pen because the thickness here doesn't serve me actually. I'm having a hard time getting the lines I want. This is the side of that building right here. So here's a trick question for you. How do I know at what angle to draw this line? How do I know that's the angle and not like this or like this? How do I know that? What line is this line parallel to? Think about it. Food for thought. And if anyone knows, you can write it down in the comments. So this road goes up. Now it's a bit of a mess. I barely remember what I did here, but okay, yeah, we're good. This is the fake horizon line, or the real one, we don't know. And the road kind of moves from that towards us in this direction, okay? So the center of the road, let me switch to a small pen like this one, 02. The center is somewhere, let me think about it, somewhere around here. And this goes all the way from the back. Maybe it even twists a little more, we don't see it, by the way. We don't get the full picture here. Now actually, before we continue with all of these details, let's get the tram. I completely forgot about it. So top part of the door, which is by the way at a bit of a curve, but I didn't indicate it at a curve, so it's not going to be in a curve in my example. We do see both the bottom parts and the top parts of the door. So here, here, kind of like that. The door is split into two parts, so let's mark down the middle. Notice once again, the middle isn't really in the middle. Okay, some more food for thought, because we look at it from the side. This is not in the center. Apparently it's not, but it actually is. Now for these windows, what you can do is get a very thin line here, get a very thin line there, and just kind of connect them using very few details, okay? Kind of like that. Now, what's important in all of this is your line work can be sloppy. It is a little sloppy for me because I work at relatively fast. Your line work can be sloppy. You can do like a decent job. The one thing, let me straighten the camera. Didn't even notice. The one thing you want to pay attention to is preserve the perspective. Make sure that even if your line is wobbly, it still adheres to the perspective generally speaking. Okay, so these lines need to be vertical. It's very important. Okay, that's the only thing that's important. I don't care if your lines look like this. As long as overall they're parallel, that's fine. It really is, and you will see with more experience that it really does do the trick. Okay, now I really like this kind of a square pattern inside, so let's get that in. And I'm starting to get a feel for what I want to do for light and shadow and finishing this. I have an idea. I'm going to share it with you soon, but let's first kind of drop in a few of the details here that we can see through the glass. We can see the other side and the other windows around the other edge here. We have this sign that we can kind of try and write. Let's leave it for the next few stages. This sign looks good. I like that. Very different from what we usually do. Now the bottom part, I'm going to go all watercolor on you and kind of wing it. Okay, so I'm going to drop in a few details here. Very inaccurate, very loose and sketchy. As long as it reads as a trams, I'm fine. There's actually a zebra stripes here, a crosswalk, so let's get that in like so. See? And then let's go over the white parts of it. It's actually really what do you call it? It's really been almost erased by the traffic, so poor pedestrians gotta watch out. But I think that works. There's probably another one here. Almost visible. Look at this side of the sidewalk. I'm just showing you, I'm putting in random details. We need to see that height. And then there's this line as well. And look at what happens here. We have these lines parallel to this line here and this line there, and then drops down. Another line like that drops down. Another line like that drops down. Another, and that's what gives this feeling of the sidewalk, okay? So all of these small details that together work to create this impression. Let's see what you're saying in the comments. Glorimar says, thank you very much for live. You're an awesome professor, and you're very friendly and humble. Blessings. Thank you so much, Glorimar. Mark says, is ink and wash always done with the ink first, followed by the wash, or could you wash first using the pencil drawing and then come back with ink? Definitely. That's a possibility, and I'll let you in on a little secret. It actually is a good way of letting the colors speak more. What happens is when you paint first and then you add the line work, your line work doesn't have to spell it out. You already see what pops out naturally, and maybe you don't have to use a line there. That happens to me very often. I'll leave lines open. For the Pokemon illustrations, I do something that's more to that style. I do line work. This is why I say it. With watercolor, I do the line work. And then I'll first paint the actual colors inside the Pokemon, and then I'll add the outlines. And Mark Crilly, who has an amazing YouTube channel, talks about this, because then the pen becomes this kind of a finalizing touch. You didn't go over everything in too many details, and then the color feels like a coloring book. You rather colored first and then added the line work. So I hope that makes sense. He's a really good artist, Mark Crilly. I learned a lot from this person. So let me just start, I don't know, establishing some buildings here. I'm gonna go a little looser on this side, all the way maybe to the front. We have this kind of a building here. Still not putting in too many details inside the buildings, just kind of putting them in there. Also, notice how I'm using my pen kind of as a pencil. I don't care doing that, kind of dropping guidelines for the windows, and I'm fine with that. As long as you have a solid base drawing-wise, you will get a good result with the pen and ink. You have to remember that. Jitendra Katkar says, hi, I'm from India. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Let's continue. We'll get some work done, then we'll continue addressing the questions. So, some of these buildings here. I'm going to try and end this live within, in 30 minutes. So we're going to have to get everything done by then, just because I have a bunch of other things I have to do, unfortunately. So we can't go 2 hours this time, or more than that for now. Okay, now this side of the building here. We have this line, and then this kind of a nice little, let's see, this goes here, and then this goes here. And there's another one and another one. Let's get this window here just for fun, because it is kind of close to us. And you really have to kind of trust your pencil lines and say, okay, I'm going to follow them. If I did a good job, it's going to end up looking like something. And if I haven't, we may end up with a mess. And this is very different. What I'm doing right now is very different from watercolor. It's a bit of a different skill. To be honest with you, I'm way more versed. Look at this line, not parallel to this line. Okay, I'm way more versed in watercolor and finalizing things in watercolor, just because it's really my medium of choice. So ended up changing the window, as you can see, a bit. I'm fine with that. So I'm very well versed in finalizing watercolor paintings, way more than pen and ink sketches. So you may see this. Look at this bottom here, bottom of the building. Again, not parallel to this. And this is beautiful. You can actually see this is beveled a little outside. I love that kind of a thing. And we have this, what is very common with European architecture, that the corner of the building has these beautiful bricks. I'm going to indicate all throughout this. I thought I won't, but look at, they're so beautiful. In Paris, you'd see many ones that are this length and then half of that, so like this, and then again the full length, and then again half like this. I love this style. so I ended up changing it a bit here. But yeah, absolutely love this. So here we go, like that. Hopefully that kind of anchors us in. Now again, let me show you this without the skewing of the camera. Here we go. Probably a bit of a better view, more accurate, more close to what this actually looks like when I'm looking at it. Okay. And even in that view, it's still not perfectly accurate because I make mistakes too. So we got that down. What next? What next? I'm looking at, we can do whatever, but I just want to figure out what's the next detail that calls to me to paint, to draw, sorry. So let's put this in here. We have this figure here. I don't care about that as much. We have this here. Let's put in some windows, shall we? We have, let's put another one of these dents, not dents, but beveled pieces here. And then let's place in a line for all of the windows. Let's start placing the windows. Look at how I really use my pen kind of like a pencil. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. But it's part of the look I will achieve here anyway, so I don't mind, you know. I'm fine with that. I wonder what this will look like once we remove the, once we erase the pencil lines. Not remove the tape, sorry. Erase the pencil lines. I wonder if it's gonna look any good. Like that. We actually have very complex balconies here. I can try going for it, but I'll show you just for fun. But for this part, it's beveled out. And then here we have another part, but here's the kicker. This goes at a curve, so you get this rounded shape like that. You see this? Let me know if you can actually recognize this in the scene. That's a very interesting structure. And then this is this whole thing, and then there's a fence here, see? So for these lines you can follow the perspective, but for these lines you really have to develop an eye for curves in perspective, which is something I'm not perfect at all. So it is a challenge. But you see, these small details will slowly start building up the scene for us. So we have this kind of a not fence, but you know, these things here. I don't know what you'd call them. Now here we have something fun. We have windows, and then this part that kind of sticks out. So we can get a few of these more in. Going a little fast, I don't know why, because it's fun. I actually don't have much left, so I don't have to go as fast, but sometimes I'm enjoying just being a little sketchier, you know. We have a serious part that seriously is beveled out. Let's do it. So this goes here, goes like that. I don't even know what that is. I probably messed it up, but that's fine. As long as it looks like a building, I'm good with that. And we're gonna have another magical moment soon. I'll show you what I mean. But let's get some windows here on this end. And look at how I'm naturally starting to go a little more at an angle outwards. Because again, due to the perspective of looking at things from below, they seem to go at a bit of an angle. I actually messed it up with this line. Let me fix it. This needs to at least feel like it's slanted the other way around. So let's do this. Hopefully that fixes it a bit. I know I can't get fully rid of it, but that's fine. You can imagine that this goes here, this goes there. I don't know, it's just something for myself. It's not a must. We actually have this very nice street light. Let's put that in here, and let's actually use the brush again. So kind of like this, and then we have this here. I love these details. This is what really ends up giving something a good sense of place, you know? And I'm almost painting at this stage. If you look at my technique, it's very similar to watercolor in a way. Like that. Sorry for going silent on you. Sometimes I have to focus too. So this is a nice little thing here. I can actually darken this whole thing up top. These few lines here. We have another really nice one here. And look at the perspective here. That's really cool. So it comes out of the wall. It goes towards us at a bit of a curved angle. Goes down, dangling from above. and then also follows the perspective. Again, I could have like made a prep sketch for this one, but I haven't, so kind of doing it the best I can. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect. These lines should be at a bit of an angle parallel to this line. This line we will see the bottom. This, let's go dark here, and we have this beautiful kind of a wavy. See this? All of these beautiful details there. Now here's the magical moment I talked about. Let's do it now, just for fun. We have all of these wires running for the tram, so let's draw these. I think they're gonna really help the composition, make it much more interesting. See? And then we can connect these like that. So the wires running. So I don't know, that's nice. I don't know if I needed that other set of lines, but that's fine. Let's make this thicker to make it feel closer to us. Just kind of breaks off that separation between the two. Let's switch over to a bit of a smaller brush. This one. This one is 05. This is tiny. Let's do 02. This one is 005, sorry. It's really tiny. Let's just get some of these buildings here. Now I'm doing something that's closer to urban sketching, of just kind of putting in those lines very freely. There's a lot of things that are really positive about that, kind of loosening up your hand and doing things very, again, very loosely like that. So a few windows and immediately this takes the shape of a building. That's all you really need. We have a bunch of trees here. It's kind of a thing. We have a building here to the side, tons of windows for this one, like that. See? Now this street, actually there's a bunch of cars here, but let's switch to the tiny brush. Let's give the tiny brush a go. I know we won't be able to see too much here. I'll take a picture of it once we're done and I'll show you. Okay? There isn't too much to see anyway, but just a couple of cars there up on the road. Maybe one closer to us, kind of coming towards us, like that. That's nice. That's really interesting. Liron, do you ever do colored pencil work? This image would work with that. I don't. Something about colored pencils and the process is something I'm not really... Let's use the brush for the windows. It's something I'm not really attracted to be honest with you. I did give it a go a few times in the past. It's just not my medium, I guess, for now. Maybe in the future I'll find out that I like it, but for now I don't really. So, yeah. Sorry to disappoint some colored pencil fans out there. Like this. I don't know, it's just getting some strength onto these windows. I don't know why compositionally it feels like the right thing to do. Let's make this line a little thicker here. Just to make some separation between the buildings. I know I'm going for a very kind of sketchy look in a way, but I'm fine with that. Here we have a shadow under the sign, so let's do that. A bit of shadows under that as well. What else? Let's make this a little thicker here. Like that. This as well. This we can see kind of this side. There's a lock here, obviously. The awning. I don't know, I think this one's fairly close to being finished. Let's do this. Let's get rid of the pencil lines and see what kind of is missing. I'm going to go very gentle here. I did use very strong pencil lines. So they're not going to disappear as easily as I'd want them to. Sorry for the shaky camera, I'm going to do this. Let's try and remedy some of that shaking. Put the Mac right against the wall to get rid of it. Now when you're erasing, you want to be very gentle. The amount of times I wasn't gentle and I kind of made the paper crumble, and it's just not good. I know that these pens dry pretty fast, so I'm fine with, you know, erasing now. Otherwise I would have waited more, but I know that it's okay for the most part. If we get a smear here and there, that's fine. Then we can consider adding just a few more details, but let's rotate it a bit. Quite honestly, I like the way it looks. I liked a bit of a different look here. If I'd want to like actually ink this very slowly and take my time more, it would have taken a really long time. So that's not really the day for that, the way it feels, at least for me. So here's what I'm missing. I'm missing a few details in the buildings here. So So for example, this building here has this very prominent divide right around here. Goes all the way around to the back. That's something I really feel like is needed here. Wow, 120 people. Thank you so much to anyone who's here. Thank you so much. If you have a question, now's the time. Let me know. I will go over all the comments that I missed. Really much appreciated you being here. Thank you so much for that. Let's give this tram the bold treatment. Let's go a little stronger here. Just to bring it out a little more, make it feel a little closer to us. These lines can be thicker, this one as well. Now is a good time. Let's put in these texts. Again, if you want to get this down to the T, you have to work a little slower, put some guidelines, but I'm just going to take the essence of it. It says monkey something, so let's get that in. I did put this wavy line just to know that I'm in the right place. 47. Let me know what that is, because I don't know. Like this. We actually have a bunch of foliage here, which we don't have in the cityscape itself, so that's funny. And I don't know, you tell me, is this clear? I'm not sure. I hope it does. I hope it works. This building should be taller, because here we should just see the side of the road. Or, you know what, it actually reaches all the way down. I was probably more accurate than I thought. Okay. Now, one more thing you could add to this is cross-hatching. This isn't going to be a heavy cross-hatching based work at all, because that's extremely tedious and can bore you out a lot. But let me just show you the technique. Basically, a bunch of parallel lines to darken whatever details you want to darken. Remember, this still hasn't been given really light and shadow. So a lot of the separation between the shapes and all of that will actually come from that. We won't do that here. I don't think it's the right scene for us to do that. It's going to take long. And if this could take watercolor, I would have done that. But it can't, so we won't. We do have another possibility. What we can do is, and then you go over it with another layer if you want to get it darker, basically it. But my heart's not in it, so I don't want to get into that. What we could do, I could use some markers. The problem is this pen doesn't work well with markers, so it'll smear the ink. But let's do that. I'm gonna get my markers. I'm gonna get Ruth first. Look at her. Look at Ruth. Look at her. Hello. Hello. You can go. You can go. It's fine. Oh, okay. So I'm going to get my trusty Copic marker. It's going to smear the brush, so get ready for that. Just letting you know. Actually, let's go over some questions, then we'll finish this one with some light and shadow. Let's see here. What did I miss? I missed a bunch of messages. Okay. Love to see you. Wait a second. Long video. Kimberly, thank you for taking the watercolor course. Much appreciated. Wow, there's a bunch of messages here. Okay, yeah. Here we go. Here we got caught up. Kimberly says, I love your live videos. Thank you so much for providing so much value for free. I'm taking your watercolor course because I enjoy your teaching style and it's a great price. Thank you once again, Kimberly. I really appreciate it. The real Andre, try drawing yokai watch. Not sure what it is. I may search for it later on. Sandra, would love to see you watercolor this type of scene. We could do that in a future video. A really good city life sketch. Thank you so much, Lipsita Art. Jose Alonso Morera, delighted to paint my town. Lisbon is always charming indeed. Zaid says, hey, I found out someone that does wash first and pen on top of that. Then the James Gurney video you suggested. Do you know of Michael Soloviev? Of course, Michael is really good. Dave says, what paper would you recommend for ink pens? Either Copic paper, like, you know, marker paper, or comic paper. Bristol, any kind of Bristol paper. Strathmore, I know is good. Strathmore cardboard, I believe it's called. That's the one you want for inking. Now, most of these cannot take watercolor. So if you want watercolor, I would actually use hot pressed watercolor paper. I would use smooth watercolor paper. Mark says, Peter Schiller has some good YouTube videos demonstrating ink and wash. Indeed, I watched a lot of his. Maggie says, rooftops are parallel to horizon line. Sandra, I agree. Would love to have another video of watercolors. I may do that. Yes, I may. People seem to like that. Andre BL says, it's so cartoony. Yes, that's because of the line variation. So if you want to get a cartoony look or a comic look, get the line variation in. Because immediately, this is an important point actually. Line weight plays a major role in the style. And the moment I use thicker lines here, significantly thicker, I actually tell the viewer this line is closer to us. Now the message itself is a very symbolic. It's like, here, I give it to you on a silver platter. This line is closer. When, as opposed to that, I could use just thin pens, get the line work to be very accurate and thin, and render the light and shadow. And that way I'm showing it to the viewer rather than telling them. This is me telling them. And whenever you tell, in a way, it makes it look more cartoony. So just an interesting way to look at it, I think. Flossie May, hello from North Carolina, USA. Thank you. Daiji Shinori, love the line art. Will you color it? I may just do another one and paint it. I see a lot of people want that. Good morning, Liron, and all from Madison, Wisconsin, USA. Cynthia Zick. Oh, my, yes, these curved balconies, such a challenge. There are a lot of these in Amsterdam. They look just great. Thank you for that. Bavia Amwata says hi. Team Hood says hi. Ian Jackson, Liron, do you ever do colored pencil? We talked about that. Raul says, please teach me how to draw fine lines with pens for figure drawing. Fine lines with pens for figure drawing. Okay, I may do a future video on that. Like line art for characters and figure drawing. Interesting. Laura Merrifield, interesting process to watch. As always, after watching your video, it makes me want to give it a try. That's the best I can ask for. Ian, alternatively, alcohol color pens would add a splash of limited color. Yeah, that's a good idea too. So this is alcohol, the Copics. We'll see how it works. I don't remember if I even have something in it. Maybe I don't. Sorry if I'll disappoint you. Mukesh says, love from India. Thank you so much. Zaid Thakur, will you add a wash? No. Rinska Colors, love the line work. I'm learning a lot from you. I have a new sub. Thank you so much, Rinska. I'm really happy to have you on board. Isabel Wittich, yo, I'm from Germany. I love your streams. Thank you. Art Adventure. Question, do you choose reference photos based on what sells well or based on your own mood and preference? Do you prefer to use your own reference photos? I prefer to use my own reference photos because I know what I like and I take the picture just as I like it. I choose what I like more than what sells well. Look at all my car paintings. I have so many car paintings. Cars don't necessarily sell the best, but I don't care. I paint whatever I enjoy. So yeah. Lady T, I joined late. This is beautiful. Thank you, Raul. Message retracted. Sorry. Ian says Ruth. Yes, Ruth came to visit. Sandra Fishman, the building on the left tilted the top line up and asked us why. So why? You tilted the top line up and asked us why. So you're talking about this line that I just showed? Okay. So this line is parallel to the lines of this tram, actually. Okay. Now, because we're looking almost from the front, because here we go. We had this kind of a thing earlier. Remember the trams? And this line, it's actually in this direction. So it's actually parallel to all of these lines. Not these lines. Wait a second. Now I'm confused. These lines. These lines. Yeah. I got it wrong. Wait a second. This line goes like that. Now what line goes like this? Oh, I know. Okay. Yeah. These lines go like this. So every line, interesting. You know what? I'm not sure. It's a good question. So wait. Oh, no. I got it. So, it could be due to the camera angle. It could be an angle in the building. You know what? I would just say that this line is parallel to these lines of the trams. Why? Because if you look at it, again, I'm going to show you this. The line on the building goes like this, and this front goes like that. This front, I think, also goes like this. I kind of exaggerated the angle. So when you have this set of lines that are parallel like that, you have to take into consideration this. The horizon line is somewhere around here. The more it goes above, the more it fans out this way. But it's very mild. Why? Because we're looking at it almost from the front. Okay? Now, if you want to exaggerate that effect, you will skew it a bit more. But generally speaking, the curve will go something like this. And see if you can pay attention to what it looks like. Do you see how subtle it is? Okay, and from under the horizon line, it's going to go like this. Very subtle. Okay, now again, it's not perfect what I did here, so hopefully it still works. Let's do this here. Let's get this edge of these buildings to pop against the farther background. Let's get this here. Get this to be stronger. Now I'm just kind of having fun trying to figure out if I want to get some of these to be a little darker. You could go for a black and white look. That's really nice too. So let's do this. Very cartoony. I know I wasn't even planning on, but I don't know. It was just really fun. I just rolled with it. That's what happens very often when you roll with it. Let's see what else we have here. What is your favorite sketch paper? The one I like the most is actually Deleter paper. It's the same brand as my manga ink, or just ink. It's Deleter. It's actually Deleter. That's what it's called. Same brand for the paper. I really like that. But Strathmore is a good common one most people use. Timothy says, hi Ruth, more Ruth. I wish, she hates being here. Nancy says, Liron is super red. Hello from the States, friend. Thank you so much, Nancy. Hello, how are you? Sonia Art says, David Green, can you briefly explain again the vertical angle on the building on the right? Are you talking about the bottom? I'm not sure, David. Sorry, I'm seeing this super late. If that's not the one you were talking about, email me or write it later and I will look at it. Now, if you're talking about this, here's my explanation. This street goes up, okay? But these lines always stay horizontal because that's how they're constructed. So in fact, this is not parallel to this. What you're seeing here is that floor at an angle, and the buildings were built on that, on top of that incline or recline, depending on the angle, of course. So they build it around that, and they still build it straight. So what you get here is a bunch of lines that adhere to the same vanishing point because they're parallel. For example, this line, it should be parallel to this line, should be parallel to this line, but are not parallel to this road. If you want to know what an even ground is, it's this. So if this street was flat, it would actually go like this, okay? But it doesn't, and then that door would go all the way down to here, but it doesn't. It's actually at an angle. Let me know if that's what you meant, and if not, I'll address it again. Laura Merrifield, what pens do you use if you want to add a watercolor wash? If you wash first, can you still erase pencil lines? What pens do you use if you want to add watercolor wash? Not these. Some of these are waterproof. You need to look at them. The Sakura Micron are, I believe, waterproof. Let's see here. It doesn't really say it, so maybe it's not. But these ones, Faber-Castell should be waterproof. There you go. So this one says it's waterproof. Most of Faber-Castell ones are going to be waterproof. You just have to make sure it's written on them. Faber-Castell, Sakura, Staedtler. I love many pen brands. Let's see. If you wash first, can you still erase pencil lines? It's going to be harder, depending on the paper, but it is going to be harder. Yeah. I'm late. It's been horrible here in the US and I needed sleep. Now I need joy, so I'm finally here. Marjorie Johnson, thank you so much for that. Paulo Tavares, hello from Lisbon, Portugal. I'm near that place now. Cool. Maybe take a picture, and that'll be interesting. I wish you could post it here. Harsha Kanala, hi. Raul Campbell, thanks for answering my question. Love from India. My pleasure, Raul. Harsha says, I did. I'm on TV. That's funny. The real Andre B. Alpedes explains Hammerot Million, the Israeli version of The Amazing Race. Try using Pochka markers. Yeah, I should. I never tried them, and everyone loves them. Everyone seems to love Pochka. David Green, I was asking about the tops of the buildings above the tram. Tops of the buildings around it. So these, you're talking about this area? Let's see here. These tops, and then you asked, let's go back to your question. Can you briefly explain again the vertical angle on the building on the right? Vertical angle. Oh, okay. So, oh, I see. You mean this? Like the vertical angle here. Okay, so when you're looking at buildings from below, imagine this is our scene. When you're looking at buildings from below, they seem kind of, towering and threatening like that. Or if you look at the building and it's to your side, you'll get something like this, maybe. See? Even if you look at a forest, by the way, just look at a forest and up top you'll see tons of trees go like that. Now, why does that happen? It's because things that are farther from us appear to be smaller. The tops of the trees appear to be smaller. Just like if you were to look at a tree trunk. So let's say this is a tree trunk, you see, like this. It will, or a log, but let's do it a tree trunk. Let's make it happier. It will appear to be getting thinner the farther it goes. It may be getting thinner too, but that's because of perspective as well. So what happens here is the same effect. Things that are farther from us, aka the tops of the buildings, they're farther, so they appear to be smaller. So in theory, this line from here to the corner should appear to be shorter than this line. So what this leads us to is an effect where the lines kind of cave in. Okay, so these lines in the middle are going to be vertical, but these lines in the sides aren't going to be vertical. They're going to be slightly caved in. And these lines on the left are going to be slightly caved in. Okay, now the more you look up, the more exaggerated the effect is. So you may get something like this, but the more you look at it kind of from below, we're looking forward here, we're not looking up, but still this is farther from us than this part. Okay, so you see how the length gets wider the closer it gets to us. I hope that makes sense. That's the explanation. Now if you look down, the opposite effect will happen. You'll get things looking like that. Okay, getting smaller the further down you go. And that's why when you look at a building from up top, it's, you know, it can make you feel a little dizzy because you see things getting smaller. So I hope that addresses the question. If not, third time's a charm, so let me know. Sandra Fishman, right? The line, that is what I thought. Thanks for confirming. I've spent a lot of time trying to understand perspective. Donna Bullman says hello. Zaitaker, microns are waterproof. Thank you. I actually got one on eBay and it was a fake, so it wasn't waterproof. Now let me just decide on a direction for light and shadow, and then we'll continue with the questions. So, what should we do? I know what we should do. We're going to get the light to come from the left to right. So this is going to cast a shadow here, like that. And this is all going to be in the shadow because that building will end here. So you'll get a light and shadow pattern here. And you'll get kind of a light shining through the sides of the buildings. I don't know. Let's give it a try. I don't even know if there's anything in this one, so we'll see about that. But this means that this side here is going to be a little darker. And as I suspected, not much is left here. So I don't think we'll be able to use that much, but let's just do it till we run out. Now again, this isn't really, the pens aren't ink proof. By the way, can you hear this annoying sound? The pens aren't alcohol proof, so you'll probably get a bit of a smearing action going. Now, you know, let's just drop it. Let's drop it. Let's not do that because it's not. There isn't enough here to justify it. I could use a different color if I have enough in it, but that'll will we shade with green? I don't know. We can't do that. Let me know if you want me to try. Just let me know if you want me to do it anyway. Because I can't use watercolor. It's going to smear this thing and going to make the paper crumble, and it's just going to be bad. Green I should have the most of, so we can turn this into a mixed media craziness. It's not as dark, but so I didn't wait for your answer, but let's just do it. So this window is going to be in the shadow. Just show you some light and shadow rendering. Okay, this window is going to be in the shadow. This window as well is going to be in the shadow. This is slightly curved, so the more we get to the left, the lighter it's going to get. Okay, and then here, this is going to be like the craziest thing I've shown you so far. So hopefully you'll enjoy not seeing something like this prior to it. Really mixed media. And let's fill this entire side up with shadows. And all of the bottom here. Okay, now let's darken these doors a bit. Well, let's just add a few details and I'll just stop whenever I want to. I don't know. Because everyone wanted me to paint this, so we can give it a try. So let's go like this. Let's get this darker here, here as well. Yeah, so we're 5:30. That's good. Let's do a bit more. I know I said I'd quit, but now I feel obligated to show you more of that. So this top part is darker. Let's just darken the whole thing like that. Let's darken this part. It's facing towards us. Like that. This is in the shadow. This is going to be crazy. I could do hatching, yes, thank you for that idea, but it's just gonna take ages, so I'm just not gonna do it. Now here, this is all gonna be probably in the shadow, so let's just get started here. It's probably not the best light and shadow situation I could have chosen, but let's see where it takes us. I'm all for experimentation, okay? So this is all in the shadow, and these pens actually take the alcohol better than I expected. Expected it to be much worse. And then we have this strip of light here, maybe another strip there, some shadows on these cars, and maybe this is all in the shadow, like this. These sides of the buildings are going to be in the shadow because they're facing away from the light source. This should be in the light, but I messed it up, so no worries. This entire thing should be in the shadow. By the way, I have no technique with Copic markers. I don't use them as often, so I'm just gonna fill in the space. Sorry if anyone's experienced and they're like, what is he doing? So here we go. Get this a little darker. Why not? I'm just gonna have fun with them, because I barely use them. And again, this is a huge scene. Like if we would do a small still life, could probably focus a little more on the light and shadow, but I don't know. So this faces away from the light, so let's fill it in with shadow. This as well, this as well. Okay, this as well is the lower, it's the underside of the balconies. And then obviously some of these areas are also going to be kind of obstructed. This entire right side of the building should be in the shadow, which is a good opportunity to fix this shape. So you see I slanted it inwards. I'm crazy today. I'm just gonna go crazy and do all of this light and shadow, and we'll see what we end up with. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm gonna be good sports about it. We could play around with the angle and have like a nice shadow cast by the lamp like that, but it's too late, so we're not gonna do that. And I wonder if I can color it sloppier. And let's do this kind of catching the light, the left side of the awning. Even though it may not in real life, I'm gonna do that just for fun. This goes up, this catches the light, this goes like that, like this. And then these windows, let's do some shadows within them. Like this. And then let's do, no, let's leave that light. Let's do this kind of a thing here. Really crazy today. Let's shadow. Let's shade this here between the buildings. This bunch of windows. What else? What else is in the shadow? Probably this side of the building. Even though it's so far away, I don't want to go too dark here. That. Like something like this. So we got some light and shadow in. At least that. Now on top of that we can darken some stuff more. We can just keep it as it is. Let's darken this thing here. We can do whatever we want basically. We can make some parts stronger. Like for example, if I think these windows should have a stronger shadow behind them, or maybe a cast shadow by this object here. Darken this up, you know. Just whatever you want. Get this side a little darker, squeaky marker. Let's get this shadow here around the window. I don't know, that's nice. Now the question is, this should cast a shadow on the building, so maybe like that. So this should also be in the shadow, like this. It's an interesting thing there. And then we can even bring out some of the texture of the bricks using light and shadow if we want to. But I don't know, just a nice little mixed media kind of result. Honestly, I don't know if I should go into more details or darken some stuff more. We could darken these things. It's the same with watercolor. I go, I don't know if I should, and then I go ahead and do it. These shadows here. These shadows probably should be darker. Bigger area of shadow here, bigger area of shadow there. I don't know, it seems nice. I'll probably end it here. Look at some of the questions you may have. This should be in the shadow. And we'll wrap it up. I don't know, I hope you enjoyed it. Very different from what I do. So look at it as, I don't know, a bonus for being here, seeing something a little different, something I don't really do ever. I want to do more like actual sketching videos because it's been a while since I did them. Like spontaneous sketching, you know, it's really fun for me to do. Try and be even more accurate than, try to be more accurate than this one. Bit of a shadow here. This could be in the shadow, you see? This side of the sidewalk. Of the curb, sorry. There we go. Yeah, I think we're good. Let's wrap it up here. I want to see some of your comments in the chat. And if you have any questions, let me know. Let's leave it like that for a moment, and then I'll switch to the face camera. So let's see what questions you have asked me. Oh, a bunch of them. Okay. Okay, Unipin pens are great too. I'm not familiar with them. I'll check them out. Ian says one thing that taught me perspective was the old Batman TV shows, as they use a lot of exaggerated perspective in the villain's den. That's cool. Yeah, you can get to really see the lines moving either towards you or away from you in these exaggerated perspectives. Let me make myself a little bigger at the expense of the painting. Like that. Let's move it a bit here. Okay. Raoul Campbell, I'm drawing with you. Cool. Send me the results. Zaid, don't mean to insult the knowledge you have, but do you know of Paco Somaza? I can find a lot in terms of his content. Paco Somaza? I don't know. Let me Google it. Paco Somaza. Not familiar. Is it Somoza? Like architect? Oh, interesting. Huh. I'll have to do deeper research on that because it does look very interesting. I like architecture. David Green thinks, I hope I can remember. Just refer to this video. Donna Bullman, definitely gonna have to watch this from the beginning. Was busy earlier. Thank you for doing these videos. You got it. Eliza Hamilton. Eliza Hamilton. I really enjoyed Hamilton. Oh wow, thank you. Ian says photographers use a lens called a PC lens, perspective changing, to make buildings look vertical, parallel. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. There's so many tricks you can do. Mark says hatching with thin lines for shadows. What brand of pen is the green pen? This is a Copic marker. I'm going to show you. I have a bunch of them here. So, where's the green one though? Is it in front of me? Yeah, here it is. Let's actually get rid of this and put this right here. Let's move this a bit to the back. Rearrange some stuff. Get it comfortable. Look at this. Here we go. That's a little better. These are the Copic markers. These are very expensive. These aren't cheap. You can get them in like 10, I think, together. Now the thing is, these are refillable, so that can save you money, but they're very expensive. And there's like, I don't know, 300 different colors. You can use them for whatever. They're very commonly used for manga and comics. That's what I know. They're very expensive though. Ian Jackson, all this needs a cool gray and warm gray. Yeah, for sure. I could have done a lot more with like a warm and cool color. Randall Lowe, interesting. Mark says left arm should have a cast shadow, and now it just floats. Oh yeah, you're right. Let's add one. Like a cast shadow within the shadow. So here we go. And some for the cars here. You are correct. Let's get this darker as well. Well, let's get the windows darker as well, I guess. And let's get the right side darker. There we go. A little better, I think. But yeah, I'm no expert in Copic markers and pen and ink. I'm still learning a lot of these things. So yeah. Sumitra says, hi Sumitra here again. Can you make a video about how to observe and study old master artists' work? Readings for a new year. We kind of do that in the Painting Master series, but I will do some of that for the How to Simplify course, so you can expect something cool there. Rinske Colors, love it. Thank you. Pedro says, if you used watercolor in this sketch, What base colors would you use? Just curious. Oh, that's easy. I would use the same ones probably. Yellow ochre, French ultramarine, Quinacridone Rose. Now, if you're asking about the trams in particular, for the red tram, I'd go with a very strong pyrrole kind of red. For this one, I'll go maybe with a phthalo blue or cerulean or something with a bit of green in it that's still very saturated and strong. Yeah. For the rest, I kind of go for my usual colors, really. Nancy says, thanks for being so entertaining. I'm happy I can entertain. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. By the way, I want to check something. I want to put you on the spot. Oh, 140 likes. Okay, perfect. You're good. You're good. So yeah, I wanted to make sure there's enough likes to match the viewers, and you've went beyond my expectations. So thank you for that. I feel like this needs to be a little darker. These two doors. So let's just darken these up. I'm looking at it via the camera, and I see things that I didn't see before. So that's really fun. Maybe a bit of a shadow here from this side of the wall. Maybe a bit of a shadow there. You could honestly continue adding more and more and rendering more details and doing more. And it is fun. I could just continue doing it. I know I did a pretty sloppy job with the marker stage, but that's because I lack that technique. And it's not the focus here, I guess. But I could do a much better job with it. I do admit. Inside the windows could be darker. Let's see here. I actually like it. The tram lines could also drop a shadow like that, you know. I really like the way it looks now. Let's get rid of this shadow. This is fully in the shadow. Don't need this highlight, sorry. Fully in the shadow. There's a limit to how dark you can go with these markers. You can kind of make it a little darker and a little darker, but then at some point you'll run into a limit. Just so you know. These should have a shadow around them, I guess, like that. Yeah, that was fun actually. You should do more like proper ones, maybe with a bit of a darker marker, and then really put a lot of thought into the light and shadow. Margie Johnson, hope everybody has a great day. Me, I will be watching from the start as soon as he says bye-bye. Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you so much for that. Armando Guardo, what type of markers do you use? Copics, I've shown you, hopefully you've seen it. Cynthia Zeke, thanks Liron, I would love to see you sketch more too. Love your explanations about the perspective, especially that street going up to the right and why the building is not parallel to the street. Wow, thanks. I'm happy you understood it, and yeah, it's a bit of a complex explanation for me to explain because it really takes a lot of knowledge and experience, but I'm happy I was able to provide that. Artuber Vlog says, wow, thank you so much. Millie Inks Copic, yes, thank you for helping people out. Lola NP36, great lesson. I bought your course. I hope it is not over my head as far as experience goes. I know I will learn a lot. Yes, I hope you will, and send me an email. Let me know your progress. Millie Inks, I think, anyway, yes, you are right. Erez Asken, hi from Los Angeles. We bought something from you when we were in Israel. Oh, yes, I remember. Was it, so was it the painting? I think it was a painting, right? I think I remember which one it is, but let me know. Interesting. I think I remember it. Isabel Wittich, and thank you so much, by the way. Much appreciated. By the way, the gallery is open. Like I sent a link in the previous, like to anyone, not just you, Erez. I have a proper online gallery. I sent a link last time, so if you want to take a look. The price point is definitely not going to be for everyone, but just throwing it out there if you want to check out the paintings. If we want to do market research and see how much watercolors cost. You can see my pricing, at least for now, for some of them. But yeah, because some people did ask me about the gallery, it's up. It's been up for a while, and thank you. Actually, seems to work, the gallery. Isabel Wittich, how can I learn draw the right shadow? Don't understand. This is like a whole topic for a video. I have a few on shadows and light and shadow. I think I'll do something that is more geared towards 3D and shadow. I need to think about that. I would check out Proko's videos, as always. Stan Prokopenko. I'm going to write it down, as I always do. If you look for Proko Drawing Fundamentals. You definitely want to check that out, because he really teaches this in depth. Sharon Nicole, I always fight with perspective. This was helpful. Thank you. I'm very happy to hear, Sharon. Ian says do a bonus finishing video for this artwork later. Oh yeah, I may do that. Or I may just do another one as a painting. Kimberly, what is your favorite shadow color mixture? It's gotta be something with French ultramarine. I love that. French ultramarine with a bit of red in it, or yellow ochre even. Red ochre, I love that so much. And also, which one was it that I wanted to say? Burnt sienna, of course, burnt sienna. Zaid, sorry, wait. Raphael Parry asks, I almost forgot. Glad I'm able. Oh yeah, almost forgot the live stream. Glad I'm able to sneak in. Welcome, welcome aboard. Zaid Takur, will you ever do a pen over wash technique? Yes, I will. Mark, why did you not draw the people? Just curious. Oh, I forgot. Let's add them in. So we have a few people here. So this person, compared to the tram, is a bit about this size, and he has one arm going to the side, and then this other arm front, top part of the body. One leg is going forward, another one's kind of to the back. So that's a person. Let's get another one here. Let's get someone taller, maybe going towards us, having a grocery bag here. Hope you can see this. And this leg goes forward, this leg goes back, and he's kind of floating. So here I went. Hopefully that makes sense, like this. Where should we stick? Should we put another person here? I don't know. Let's do it. So we have another person here. Like when you actually place people in a scene, it's completely different. But let's go for it. I don't know. So another person. This is a hand. Maybe a dress. You know, make things a little more varied. All the pants and suits. Maybe holding something. Maybe the phone. That's another person. And obviously, because of the previous colors, it's a bit hard for the people to pop. But I'm going to try adding a shadow. Maybe that will help. So, very gentle. And then I have to make this one stronger too. But a very gentle kind of cast shadow here. Some very gentle shadows there. Maybe there are people inside the trams, but you can't see them. But yeah, that's fine to do sometimes. I just forgot. That's the reason. Artistic R&M says hello. Rinska Color says, do you have some lessons on drawing? Yes, I have a few. Occasionally I do them. Just search for perspective or drawing. I have old ones that are very cringy to watch, where I was much less than what I have today. But they're still enjoyable. You can hear me go and every 5 seconds, a lot. But yeah, Zaid Thakur, quick watercolor question. How would you mix an opaque color out of the 3 transparent primaries? You have to add an opaque color to that. So you have to actually use an opaque color. But if you mean very strong or very dark, I'd go for stronger, darker colors like phthalo blue. Or you want to go for the actual opaque colors. Like Pyrrole Scarlet is a little less transparent, I think. Yellow Ochre, a little more opaque, so you could do that. Samuso86, hi Liron, first time to catch your live stream, but have learned a lot from your many videos over the last few years. Thank you for all your helpful tutorials. Thank you so much for that. Isabel Wittich, thank you so much. Rinska Colors, I mean with perspective and all. Oh yeah, I have a few. You can find them. Just search for perspective on the channel. Ronica here. This is watercolor? No, it's not. It's Copic markers. I use Copic markers. Zara Sheet says, wow, Pens Palacio, how I long for Copics. They're pricey. Yes, they are. They're very expensive. I remember going to the store, and I'm friends with a person who used to work there, and I just started picking them up, and then I realized I have 6, and I'm like, how much for this? And he goes, it was like $80 or something like that, maybe more. And I was like, oh, okay. I think I'll stop here. No, not $80. It was much more than that. It was 250 shekels divided by 3.5. I don't know, 80? Yeah, $80. I don't know, a lot. It was way too much. But in any case, I hope now it got this nice little feeling of, you know, view. Let me show you. I think it aged nicely. So it does feel like something. I think there's actually some feeling of depth in it too. But yeah, very interesting scene. Very interesting scene. By the way, one thing I forgot, it's actually quite important, is you do want to show how these things have a shadow to them. So this actually should go like this. See? This is actually quite important. It makes them actually appear to be dented into the ground. But yeah, this is the final result. I really hope you enjoyed it. A bit of a crazy one. We did really mixed media with this one. Very different from what I usually do. And thank you so much for anyone who tuned in. We have a bunch of viewers here, and I really appreciate it. And you were loyal enough to get to this end result that is very different from what I usually do. So thank you so much for that. I could, for one last thing, do this. I'm going to make her shirt a little darker. And so it'll look separate from the rest. Just to make it pop, maybe darker hair as well. So yeah, just that. Yeah, I really do appreciate it. Don't forget, again, if you have more questions, leave a comment. Let me know. I do look at the comments. For anything, feel free to reach out. What else? What else do we want to talk about? The manga. I hope to soon have 20 pages so I can actually share with you and show you what it looks like and have you actually read the story as a story. I think we're gonna now really wrap it up. Thank you so much. I will see you again in another live real soon. Take care and have an awesome 2021. Wishing you really all the best.